Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Hasbro is getting out of the film business. Now, according to reports, Hasbro is no longer looking to co-finance movies as related to their intellectual properties and is looking to go out here and outsource the whole financing of these movies or license them out to movie studios. Now, Hasbro is doing this in the aftermath of the box office failures of movies like Dungeons and Dragons and Transformers Rise of the Beast and the box office failure of Transformers 1. Now, Hasbro believes that they just don't have the ability to go out here and co-finance films and take on those losses, so this is why they're looking to leave the entire film business overall. Now, when I listen to the executives at Hasbro as related to this business decision, it basically shows me that Hasbro is learning a hard lesson regarding the entertainment business. Now, as someone who has studied the entertainment business for over 25 years, I can tell you that when it comes to financing films, it's a huge risk, and it's one that you really don't want to gamble on as related to intellectual properties unless you know what you're doing. Now, the people at Hasbro basically thought that since their toy properties like Transformers and Dungeons and Dragons did well at retail, what they thought they could be able to do is get that same type of success as related to financing films and reap profits without having to deal with a movie studio. Now, that whole idea was one that was destined to fail because when it comes to a movie, you really have to have a background in entertainment to understand how the business worked. And with Hasbro, it's clear to me that they really didn't understand what they were doing as related to going out here and not only financing their films, but they didn't know how to go out here and market their films, because the sad part about Hasbro's films more recently, such as Transformers Rise of the Beast and Transformers 1, was they put together some quality films. Unfortunately, the big problem over at Hasbro is that they did not have anybody there with a background in entertainment to teach them the business side of entertainment as related to marketing. Because with Transformers Rise of the Beast, that was a fantastic film that basically felt like the old Sunbow cartoons. It really just felt like an old episode of Transformers come to life. Not to mention, the concept for Rise of the Beast was great because it basically capitalized on all of the nostalgia of that legendary Season 3 episode of Beast Wars, where the Beast Wars characters were on the Ark and they saw all the G1 Transformers. I mean, that episode in and of itself was one that was exciting for me as a Transformers fan, and excited both Beast Wars and G1 fans, and Rise of the Beast could have been a film that could have performed a lot better had Hasbro gone out here and understood how to market their films. If they understood, how to market their films, they could have had a box office blockbuster. Unfortunately, Hasbro just did not know how to market that film, and it wound up underperforming. I mean, it had the hype, but it just did not have that, again, whole marketing plan to get it over the line to become the blockbuster it should have become. Now, in the case of Transformers 1, they also had the same thing. You had a fantastic movie, just exceptionally well done, captured the heart and soul of the Transformers, and basically created a new story that would appeal to a new generation of fans, would bring in a new generation of people who would become fans of the Transformers, and stayed very true to the story while keeping it fresh for a new generation. I mean, Transformers 1 was just an absolutely great movie. Unfortunately, when it came to the marketing once more, the marketing just was absolutely terrible because they went out here and presented trailers that didn't show you the whole story that stayed true to the heart of Transformers. No, what they did was go out here and look to market the film as just a silly kiddie comedy, and that basically alienated the core audience of boys or alienated the core audience of Transformers fans. And instead of Transformers 1 being a blockbuster that it could have been, it wound up becoming a box office failure due to not only the marketing part, but also not understanding the timing and the schedule as related to films. Now, this basically undermined both Transformers Rise of the Beast and also undermined Transformers 1. Now, Transformers Rise of the Beast came out later in the summer, when it should have been positioned in about May or June, because if you know the schedule for entertainment, you know that when it comes to family films don't usually perform well later in the year. And when you put family films in a scheduled part where they're coming out at certain times where the kids aren't able to see them, what happens is those films wind up underperforming. Now, with Rise of the Beast, they basically put this film out about late July or early August, I believe, and that basically undermined its ability to perform. I mean, this film should have been out about May or June when the kids were getting out of school. When the kids were getting out of school, this would have been the time, because parents basically, they usually start their vacations usually when their kids are just getting out of school. And usually around that time, that's when they want to go see movies like a Rise of the Beast. And that film could have been better had they knew how to understand how the film schedule works for the months. This is something I learned as studying the entertainment industry. You have to know how to position your products so that you can reach the largest audience. And you don't want to position your product in a time period where the customers aren't there. No, you don't want to position your product in certain months. I mean, you don't want to position your movies in periods like August, because August is basically kids are going back to college, kids are going back to school, and in the South and the Midwest. In the Middle America, in August, this is where kids are going to school. So you don't really want to put your movies late July, early August, because that's a period where nobody's there. And even worse, you don't want to put your movies in periods like February, because February is a month that nobody goes to the movies because it's cold, and it's also a time when, again, kids are in school. So you don't want to put movies in late January, early February, or March, or like that. No, you won't want to position your films in these time periods, and you also don't want to put your films out in September, because September is where kids are in school, and parents are in a peak work period. So you don't want to position your films in these periods at all. No, when it came to Transformers Rise of the Beast, again, that late period undermined its ability to perform. And in the case of Transformers 1, the film was positioned in a terrible period. Again, they put this film out in October, or late September, October, and putting this film out in that time period basically put the nails in its own coffin. Now, this was a great film in and of itself, but the whole marketing plan and the timing of it, you don't launch a kids movie in October or early September. No, you don't do that, because that's, in the entertainment industry, is considered the dumping ground period. It's considered the dumping ground period for really terrible movies. This and February are considered the dumping ground periods where studios drop really movies that they know are going to fail. No, if you want to position a film for success, like Transformers 1, there's two periods you were supposed to put this film in. You were supposed to put this film in a period like, again, about May or June, when the kids are coming out of school and the parents are getting ready to take their vacations and have time to take their kids to the movies, and you can get that large family audience. Or you put that film out in late November, when we're in the middle of the holiday movie season. I mean, the movie season that we're in right now, where we have this Wicked with Gladiator 2 and Wicked and Moana 2, this is the place where Transformers 1 should have been placed and positioned in order to compete. And Transformers 1 possibly would have done a lot better in this week right now of next to late November, because late November, this is the holiday movies. Moreover, they could have also cross-marketed this this with the holiday season, and as people came out of Transformers 1, they would have been headed to a store like a Target or a Walmart, and you could have basically sold exclusive figures from the movie because people are coming out of there and it's the holiday season. I mean, Black Friday could have been a Black Friday for Hasbro and the studios had they positioned the movie for a launch this weekend or a launch on Christmas Day. I mean, really, the position was Black Friday. You could have positioned this movie and launched it on Black Friday and had a blockbuster at the store and a blockbuster at the theaters. Unfortunately, the people at Hasbro, while they wanted to get in this movie business, didn't understand how the movie business worked, didn't understand anything about film schedules, didn't understand anything about release schedules, didn't understand anything about marketing, and this is why Hasbro wound up not having films that performed well and had flops like Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons, basically, a lot of people say that was a good film overall, but the big problem with Dungeons and Dragons is that Dungeons and Dragons was released again around March, and again, if you're releasing films, you never release films in certain time periods, like I would say from January to March, because that's another dumping ground period. Studios dump trash out from January to March, and from August to about mid-October. This is known in the business for many years. It's known in the business for many years. You don't release any products that you consider to be ones that you consider to be viable for blockbuster status or tentpole movies that you can build other movies around. You never release films in these time periods because once you release it, you're basically sending a message to the audience that this is junk and they shouldn't care about it. And this is what Hasbro didn't understand now, because Hasbro's executives, they don't understand the film business. They understand toys, but they don't understand entertainment. And as they entered into the entertainment business, you had a lot of people who just, again, didn't have that experience. And sadly, because they didn't have that experience, they wound up losing money. And since they've lost money, instead of learning their lesson, what they're doing is now looking to go outsource the licensing of their properties, hoping that this will be profitable. They're hoping that by outsourcing it, this could be profitable. But the whole thing is that their film business could have been profitable, but they needed an executive who understood the entertainment business, understood things like scheduling a film for release, scheduling a marketing plan that would allow you to go out here and synergize your marketing so that you could be out here having people come out of the theater, because a lot of theaters are in malls, and you can get people to come out of the theater into the Target or the Walmart at the mall and come out of there looking to go buy toys. That's what you want as related to your business. Unfortunately, Hasbro just didn't have that visionary in their executives to be able to synergize their business. And because they didn't have it, now they're just basically conceding the business that they could have had profit from. They could have had a lot of profit from this business as related to cross marketing, having exclusives at these stores that would be at the mall. They could have, again, had these exclusives and had this success. Unfortunately, Hasbro didn't have the leadership with the vision or the patience to make this work, and this is why Hasbro's, again, leaving the whole film business in an ignominious fashion, because they really don't understand how business works, and again, they're starting to go back to their lane because they just don't know how to shift and pivot as related to business. Now, if you want to pick up some of my action-packed fantasy fiction on the SJS Direct universe, you can find the books of the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and my Black Vampire novel, Eternal Night, and my sorority novel, Thetas. You can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos talking about the entertainment industry, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural ISIS series adventure. Get your copy of ISIS, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers. A steam horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.